Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Nārayanam Namaskrityam
Narayanam Namaskrityam
Naram Jaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaivam Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saram Satyasam
Tato Jayamudiraye
Tato Jayamudiraye
Ashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavate Uttama Sloke
Bhagavate Uttama Shloke
Bhaktin Bhavatir Naistiki
Bhakti Bhavati Nirtiki
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Devaki Nandanaya
Nandagopa Kumaraya
Nandagopa Kumaraya
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Hare Krishna. Welcome all the devotees for the morning Srimad Bhagavatam discussion. Today we are going to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 5, text number 32. So the canto name is The Cosmic Manifestation and the chapter name is The Cause of All Causes. Please repeat the sloka behind me. Yadaite saṅgatā bhāvā
Yadaite asaṅgatā bhāvā
bhūtendriya-mano-guṇāḥ
bhūtendriya-mano-guṇāḥ
yadāyatana-nirmāṇe
yadāyatana-nirmāṇe
śekur brahma-vittama
śekur brahma-vittama.
Word by word meaning, please repeat behind me. Yada, as long as.
As long as
Iti,
iti
all these.
all these
Asaṅgatāḥ,
asaṅgatāḥ
without being assembled.
without being assembled.
Bhāvāḥ,
Bhāvāḥ
remain so situated.
remained so situated.
Bhūta,
Bhūta
elements. Indriya,
indriya,
senses.
senses.
Manaḥ,
Manaḥ,
mind.
mind.
Guṇāḥ,
Guṇāḥ,
modes of nature.
modes of nature.
Yadā,
Yadā,
so long.
so long.
Āyatana,
Āyatana,
the body.
the body.
Nirmāṇe,
Nirmāṇe,
in being formed.
in being formed.
Na śekuḥ,
Na śekuḥ,
was not possible.
was not possible.
Brahma-vittama,
Brahma-vittama.
O Nārada,
O Nārada,
the best knower of
the best knower of
transcendental knowledge.
transcendental knowledge.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charnavadi Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Translation, please repeat behind me. O Nārada,
O Nārada,
best of the transcendentalists,
best of the transcendentalists.
the forms of the body
The forms of the body
cannot take place
cannot take place
as long as
as long as
these created parts,
these created parts,
namely the elements,
namely the elements,
senses, mind, and modes of nature
and modes of nature
are not assembled.
are not assembled.
Purport. The different types of bodily construction of the living entities are exactly like different types of motor cars manufactured by assembling the allied motor parts. When the car is ready, the driver sits in the car and moves it as he desires. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad-gītā 18.61. The living entity is as if seated on the machine of the body The car of the body is moving by the control of material nature, just as the railway trains are moving under the direction of the controller. The living entities, however, are not the bodies. They are separate from the cars of the body. But the less intelligent material scientist cannot understand the process of assembling the parts of the body, namely the senses, the mind, and the qualities of the material modes. Every living entity is a spiritual spark, part and parcel of the spiritual being. But the kindness of the Lord for the Father is kind to his sons. The individual living beings are given a little freedom to act according to their will to lord it over the material nature. Just as a father gives some playthings to the crying child to satisfy him, the whole material creation is made possible by the will of the Lord to allow to bewildered living entities to lord it over things as they desire, although under the control of the agent of the Lord. The living entities are exactly like small children playing the material field under the control of the maidservant of the Lord nature. They accept the Maya or the maidservant as all in all and thus wrongly conceive the supreme truth to be feminine, goddesses Durga, etc. The foolish, childlike materialist cannot reach beyond the conception of the maidservants, material nature, but the intelligent grown-up sons of the Lord know well that all the acts of the material nature are controlled by the Lord, just as a maid servant is under the control of the master, the father of the undeveloped children. The parts of the body, such as the senses or the creation of the Mahatattva, and when they are assembled by the will of the Lord, the material body comes into existence, and the living entity is allowed to use it for further activities. This is explained as follows. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshur-unmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravadi Pracharni Nirvishesha Shunyavad Pashasha Deshatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So this is the continuation of the whatever we are discussing the previously, the chapter we are discussing the cause of all causes. Brahma and Nārada are discussing here in this chapter. So when Sukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj were discussing that time, Sukadeva Goswami, he was explaining about this creation. And because the Parikshit Maharaj asked about the creation, how this creation has happened. He wanted to know. Eagerly he wanted to know. Because of that, Sukadeva Goswami started giving the discussion happened between Brahma and Nārada. So Brahma and Nārada here they are discussing. So in this, so we discussed in the previous verses about how the modes of natures are created and how the 5 elements are created, how the senses are created, how the mind created. All this we discussed. Now, Brahmaji, he was saying to Nārada, he is glorifying Nārada. What he is saying, oh Nārada, best of the transcendentalists. So he is calling Nārada as the best of the transcendentalist. Even though he is the father of Nārada, but Nārada is called as the best of the transcendentalist because Nārada, he was doing the activity of propagating the holy name of the Lord all over the 3 worlds without any interruption. He was traveling all over the 3 worlds and he was always chanting the holy name of the Lord, Narayana, Narayana. And he was initiating or giving the knowledge to the people around that. So that's why we are the Brahma, he called him as the best of the transcendentalist. He's not a normal person, he's the best of the transcendentalist. He's not only a transcendentalist, he's the best of the not transcendentalist. Because his only activity is glorifying the Lord and give the knowledge about the Lord to all the other living entities. And he is giving that, Brahmaji is telling that about the assembling of whatever the created beings, the modes of nature are created, the 5 elements are created, and senses are created, mind is created, All are there. But when we put it together, then only it can act. It can become a body, and the living entity go and stay in that, and it can be controlled by the material nature. So this is the way the assembling is happening. So for that only, Prabhupada giving the analogy of the motor car. The motor car has the different parts. It has the engine, it has the silencer, it has the wheels, it has the doors, it has the glasses, window, everything is there. So initially, if you see, everything will be a small different parts. So if you, it will be lying down here and there. So when the factory, they assemble together, then only it become a car. Until that time, it is a spare parts only. It is a parts only. It is a parts of the car only. But when they are assembled together, then it become a car. So then a driver can sit on the car and he can control the car. And the similar way, our body also in that similar way only. So without the assembling of this, all these 5 elements and the senses, mind, modes of nature, it cannot be act. So Lord wanted to give the little intelligence, because the first main purpose of the living entities entering into this material world is they wanted to lord it over the things which are there, because in the spiritual world, everything is under the control of the Lord, under the control of the Supreme Lord. All of the living entities there, they are serving the Lord. They are in the mood of serving the Lord. There is no other work over there, only to serve the Lord. But the envious living entities, they wanted to enjoy like the Lord, and they wanted to lord it over the things. How the Lord is doing, they wanted to replicate the same thing. When that kind of thinking arises, then Lord created this material world. So Prabhupada giving the analogy that when suppose father, he was doing some mechanical work, so he was doing some mechanical work, he is disassembling the bike or some electrical things. Then the son or daughter, the child also wanted to do the same thing. Then what they will do? They will give the small imitation or the playthings to the, if it is suppose he is scooter, the scooter like playthings to the small boy. Then the son also, he will do the, like the father, he was seeing the father and he will do the same thing. Okay, I also wanted to, how my father is working on this disassembling or assembling, working on this, repairing this scooter, I also want to do the similar thing. So small boy also, he will do the same thing. He will also disassemble, he will also assemble everything. So this is the analogy provided by Prabhupada, that whenever the living entity wanted to lord it over the material, lord it over like a Supreme Lord, so then Lord sent them to this material world. So for that reason only the Lord prepared this material world and they will send them. So the living entities is a spiritual, purely a spiritual thing in the spiritual world. So in order to act according to their whims, so Lord need to give the body. So for that only all the 5 elements are created, senses are created, mind is created. Everything is created. So according to live in this material world. So then the body is getting assembled by the Lord. So that as after that assembling, the living entity come and sitting under there, sitting on the body. So once the living entity is sitting on the body, then the body become active. So the body become active because until without this living entity, the body is just a dead element only. So when the living entity come over there, then it become active. And what is happening? Then all the activities are happening. Why all the activities? The living entity is doing all the activities. Some are doing the good things, some are doing the bad things, some are thinking the different way. Each and every living entities are unique in this material world. All the thinkings are different way. Why it is happening? Yes, not everyone is thinking on the same way. Yes, it is not at all possible. Even within our house also, even though we are born in one family, or brothers and sisters, not everyone thinking in the same way. Some are becoming a doctor, some are becoming an engineer, some are becoming a businessman, some are becoming a farmer. So why it is different things are happening? Even everybody born in the same mother, same father, different things are happening because according to their desire, the Lord provided the body accordingly. They assembled the body accordingly. So if you wanted to enjoy a car, Maruti car, we are getting into the Maruti car according to our budget, we are getting. And if somebody want to enjoy the BMW car, for them it is BMW. So like that, there is a different body, different car is provided. Similarly, our body also, different body we are getting, the different body. And Lord is providing the different body. And that body is controlled by us as a living entity going and staying in this body. And we are controlling this body. And this entire body and us are controlled by the modes of material nature, who is the controller of outside of the controller. See, we are seeing the plane. So the aeroplane is going, if you take the aeroplane as a body, the driver is a living entity who is there. The pilot is a living entity who is controlling that plane. Not only the pilot is controlling, pilot just going against whatever the instruction he is getting from the control room, he will use that instruction and he will just follow the instruction. That's it. He won't do according to his own whimsically, he won't do anything. So because why? Yes, that only the plane will go smoothly. That is the way it is arrangement. The similar way, our body also, we got the body and we have the desires in our we have the desires. So that because of to complete the desires, we are getting the certain type of body. In that body, we are coming and sitting as a living entity. We are sitting over there. And who is the controller? Lord is sitting as a Paramatma. He is overseeing as a permitter, overseer and the permitter. Two activities Lord is doing as a Paramatma in our heart. Two activities are doing. He is a overseer and he is a permitter. And who is controlling us? The controlling is given by the modes of nature is controlling us. So the three modes of nature, what we mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. These three modes are controlling us to do this activity in this material world. Because if you see the per minute, there are so many thoughts are coming in our mind. There are many thoughts. It is not at all. It is not at all control. We are not able to control our own mind. We are not sure about what is there inside of our body. There are so many mechanical parts are there within our body, and every part of our body is it can able to refresh themselves. And there are so many activities are happening within our body itself. We are just putting the food over there in the mouth, and it is going inside the saliva, along with the saliva it is going, and inside the chemical reaction is happening, and it is digesting, the foods are getting digested, and it becoming energy. So how this is happening, we don't know. Everything, all the parts and part of the body, even though we are staying in this body, we are not sure about what is happening inside our body, what is there inside our body. We just seeing our outer parts only, hands, legs only. But inside, there is a miracle things, Lord. Even though it is a living entity and it is taking birth and it is dying, the body is getting slain, but still, Lord made this body in a wonderful way. See how all this our senses are working, and our body is working. Inside of the body, bones, Lord gave the bones. Why Lord gave the bones? To give the strength to pick up anything and to walk. There are so many miracle things Lord provided. There is a very great engineer behind this design of this body. See, we are so much of proud. We are saying this building, the Burj Khalifa. It is a great engineering work they did. It is just a construction of without the non-living entities. They are just all these 5 elements. They use the 5 elements. They constructed a building. That's all. The building cannot grow if there is any natural disaster happening. The building will fall down. We are going to immediately be glorified them. Okay, how the engineering work they did. But we are not able to glorify the Lord's engineering. Each and every 84 lakhs of species Lord provided, Lord created His material world, and the material world itself, so many miracles He did. Everything is miracle for us in the material world, because we cannot create anything here. Whatever we created is using this, whatever is there in this, available in this material world, using what Lord created already, the elements, using that element only, we are preparing something. We are not bringing any, we unable to brought anything beyond this 5 elements, the senses, minds, and modes of nature. Apart from that, we cannot exploit or we cannot use anything. We cannot discover or we cannot create anything. We are, whatever we are creating, we are using this one. That is the way we have the limitation, but we are proud of our activity. But Lord, first of all, the Lord created is the basic elements. That itself is a great thing. Yes, how the mind of the intelligence of the Lord worked there. So this is the way the earth need to be created, and the earth in these are the elements should be there. And using these elements, the living entity should be there like this. The plants, birds, living aquatic, earth, water, fire. So all those things, all these material bodies, different species. So it is a kind of so much of miracle. Within our body itself, there are so many miracles are happening. Every day miracles are happening. How this body got created first. So how the nerves, there are blood, nerves, and flesh, bones, skin, how blended it is. Everything it is covered, properly it is growing. So it is a wonder thing. God did a wonder. We cannot understand why it is happening. So if you ask the scientist why the body is growing, so there is a food is supplied to the body, so they will say the body is growing. So how this energy is converted, how the food is getting converted to become energy, and that energy is become added into our body and is growing. So that things we don't know. We are saying that we know everything, but we don't know about our own body itself. So this is the way the current world is running. And nobody is interested to learn those things also, understand these things also. What is what is our body? How the wonderfully Lord created? Nobody is bothered about that. But the Bhagavatam, it is speaking about those aspects. See, that is the knowledge, is the great knowledge is there in the Bhagavatam. So the Bhagavatam is speaking about the deeper knowledge, how these elements are created, how the body is getting created. All these things are nobody interested, nobody aware in the outside world. So the Bhagavatam, it is not just for we cannot classify the Bhagavatam as a religious book. It is not it is only for the Sanatana Dharma or only for the Hindus. It is not like that. The Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad-gītā, it is for the basic fundamental knowledge Lord given to us, mercifully Lord given to us. So this is the fundamental knowledge that each and every living entities, each and every human being should know that. For that reason only they gave all this knowledge, Lord giving all this knowledge through Srimad Bhagavatam. So if you are not able to accept this, the Srimad Bhagavatam, because this is written by, we compiled by Vyasadeva from different Brahma and Nārada, we can take the supreme authority, what he is saying. The supreme authority, Supreme Lord, he was saying in Bhagavad-gītā 18.61, he was also here also he was talking about the living entity and the energies. So in the 18.61, Lord is saying that Ishvaraha sarva bhūtānāṃ videshe arjuna tistati brahmayan sarva bhūtāni yantrarudani mayaya. So Krishna here is saying that the Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna. So Krishna is saying that Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart and is directing the wandering of all the living entities. So he is directing, Lord is directing, who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. So the machine, what the body is, the machine is made of the material energy, and Supreme Lord is sitting inside of the living entity and he is directing the living entity according to their desire. So because our desire, we don't know our desire. What we desire in the previous birth, we don't know. Once we born in this material world, we don't know. Someone required to remind us to do this. Okay, this living entity he desired to live in that way. So let me give that body and let me direct him in that way. That is the work Lord is doing. He is overseeing and he is giving, permitting whatever the things we are doing. So that is the way the Paramatma living in our heart. So this is what Krishna also explaining in Bhagavad-gītā. So the Krishna, the Bhagavad-gītā and Srimad Bhagavatam, it goes hand on hand. Both the knowledge are both if you see both the points, both the conclusions, both the explanations are very, very similar. So the Lord, whatever the Lord says, similar thing said by the other acharyas also. Our acharyas also spoke about the similar thing, and the parampara system, the same knowledge is coming the time to time. So this is the way the same knowledge it is getting passed to the next generation. So this is the great science, that understanding about this creation is the great science. Everyone should know how this creation is happening and whose hands it's there behind that. And then only we can glorify the Lord. How we just the American, if you see the American government, they will say that Lord is great. The American people, when the US, UK, the white people, they will say that Lord is great. How great he is, that they don't. The Christianity, Muslim, they'll say Lord is great. So how God is great? God is great, that is fine. How great he is, that great we can understand through Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad-gītā. By understanding why the Lord is created this material world, how he created, and what are the things involved, and how Lord made this happen. So if you understand all these scriptures, all this, at least Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad-gītā, then we can glorify the Lord, we can understand the greatness of the Lord. Then only we can accept Lord as a supreme authority. Just simply saying that Lord is great, God is great, we cannot understand the supreme authority. We cannot appreciate the Lord's Allah also. We cannot be there thinking that Lord is staying next to our house as a neighbor. Like that only we are treating in the current way. Why? Because we are treating the Lord in that way, because we are not aware of how great he is. That is the reason. We know Lord is there and he is the creator, he is doing all those things. But how great he is and what are the things he did, that we can understand through this kind of nectarian scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad-gītā. From there, we can understand, and there the directions are there for the living entities, and which direction the living entities need to move so that they can perfect their life. So that direction is also provided by the Lord. Merciful. These are the mercy of the Lord. See, the living entity wanted to enjoy. Simply, Lord can put the living entity in this material world. Okay, you enjoy as much as you want. But Lord gave these scriptures also. He is sending the acharyas also. Why? He's again and again he is sending the acharyas into this material world and giving the scripture and giving his knowledge to all the living entities. He should go to all the human beings. Why he is doing all those things? Because he is our Supreme Father. He wanted us to back to home, back to Godhead. So we are not very much interested to go back to Godhead. If suddenly Lord come in front of us, he is going, let's go. Like that, if Lord is asked us, what will we say? Okay, I have some work. Let me complete my work and then I will come along with you. Like that we will see. So that is the mentality we have. Immediately we can say, let's go. The Lord means, if Lord is calling us to Vaikuntha Loka immediately, nobody is ready to go immediately. We will say, let me complete at least let me tell to my wife and my children, then I will come. In that way, our mind is. But Lord is not like that. Lord is always thinking about because even though we know this material world is temporary, we are going to stay in this material world temporary, but still we are stick and addicted with this material activities. But Lord is aloof from all those material things, and he is the creator of these material things. So he knows what is the purpose he created, and that knowledge he is giving through acharyas to us. Once the person who aligned with the acharyas and the explanation and understand the scriptures, that person can stay away from this material attachment, and they can think about go back to our original position. So this is the great opportunity we got. The greatest because of our mercy of the Supreme Lord and as well as the mercy of our acharyas, we got these great scriptures. And we are able to understand how this creation is happening, how this body assembled, how everything is happening in this material, what is the purpose, and what is the activity we are supposed to do. Everything we are able to understand, we are able to follow the instructions, and because of the mercy of the Lord. So we should appreciate the Lord's creation. We should glorify the Lord, and we should always, we are indebted to the Acharyas, we are indebted to the Supreme Lord. The only thing we can do, repay through the Acharyas, just following the instructions, and the repay to the Supreme Lord, just to try to go back to Godhead and according to his instructions. That is the only thing we can do to give it back the debts. Hare Krishna. Rabindranath Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone. Anybody?